It is First Friday. Happy First Friday to you, Kindezi family. As you know, I've made a commitment to keep you informed via our quarterly town halls. And although we'll have a town hall coming up at the end of this quarter, I wanted to give you a mid quarter update. Yes, mid quarter. You are doing it. It is September. To give you some important COVID related items. And as always, I am available via my office hours if you have any questions or would like some time with me. So, first of all, I want to say in general, our geniuses have done an extraordinary job of adhering to our COVID protocols. And so, thank you for all that you've done to make sure that they are doing those things. And we just have seen a number of things happening with some of our families not doing all of the things. And so, this has caused many of us some stress and some hardships. And I know that I just want to come back and say we see the work that you're doing and we're appreciative of the work that you're doing to reinforce our messaging directly with our parents. That has been a huge help. The work that you're doing on the ground is far more fruitful than any communication that can come from me or come from the network. And so I just want to say thank you. Specifically, I'm going to shout out Miss Samantha Medow at O4W. I don't know what you have done, but maybe you can share the secret as to how you have 100% of your geniuses consented to test. I also want to shout out Miss Chelsea Kelly Love, who has sent text messages to her families showing her getting the weekly test, showing that it doesn't hurt, reminding families to sign up for weekly testing. It's you. You guys are doing all of the things, and that is really living out our core value of collective responsibility. So thank you. In a recent video that I sent to parents, I reminded them of the call to do all the things to keep our community safe. And specifically, I named the following. If you or any member of your household is having symptoms of illness, please do not send their children to school unless they have been cleared by a doctor or have a COVID test that has been turned into the school. Additionally, one thing that we communicated, and it has made a tremendous impact, all of our geniuses participating in After School All Stars or Genius Studios must have a testing consent form on file. We know that it is impossible for us to cohort kids after school, and so we want to make sure that we're doing all the things to keep them safe. So, in addition to that, I wanted to tell you about another change that we've made in response to ongoing circumstances in our classrooms. Our protocol for classroom safety has been slightly modified, and we've included this clause. A classroom may be temporarily moved to virtual learning if three or more geniuses, and at first we said two, CDC came back and made some changes to their protocols after us. And so I think they were seeing this as well. But we changed this to three. So if three or more geniuses are showcasing symptoms within a same 48-hour period, so that's three or more in the same class within 48 hours, then we have decided after they've been assessed by a medical professional and they are exhibiting those symptoms of COVID-19, we are most likely going to quarantine that class. Prior to this allowance, we were relying on our parents to give us test results so that we can know whether or not we had a positive case of COVID. And honestly, that just wasn't working for us. It was moving a bit slow and we were not acting as safely as we could. So, this change gives our medical staff the ability to use their professional discernment to help keep our classrooms safe. And if you have the capacity to do so, please take some time and show our nursing staff, our health services team, just some love and appreciation just for their audacity and for their service. They have been absolutely amazing during this time. We are indebted to them, and we really do appreciate all that they've done to keep not only our geniuses, but our staff safe as well. So, another modification that I want to share with you has to do with our quarantine protocol or our quarantine leave policy. So, as you may or may not know, the federal government protection for COVID related work absences expired quite some time ago. And as such, we are supposed to use our standard attendance policy to account for all absences. So, with that said, the advice that we were given from our federal government was just use your PTO. So, for many of you, we know that this will cause a financial hardship as you would have exhausted all of your PTO for the year in the event that you have to quarantine or your child has to quarantine. And so, in efforts to support our staff, we will be allowing some temporary work from home accommodations for staff members who can show a documented need to quarantine. And you can reach out to your principals just for more information about that. But that documented need, you have documentation that shows that your child school is quarantining or your daycare is closed and you have to quarantine, or if someone in your family that you live with you have to care for in quarantine. Should you be well enough to take advantage of this accommodation, you will not have to take PTO, but all other cases of absenteeism are subject to our standard PTO policy. So please know that this accommodation is aligned to efforts to show that our staff that you are seen, you are valued, you are supported. We frankly also want to do all that we can to protect you, and that means considering your financial sustainability should you have to quarantine. This accommodation does, however, prevent us from also paying additional stipends for any staff members providing on site student support on behalf of one of their team members. So, as an organization, we cannot afford to both cover your staff leave and staff coverage in a way that is financially sustainable. So I'm asking that you lean in on our core values to support one another in the way that you would wish to be supported. So thinking about collective responsibility, I want you to lean in on that. Um, and should you have any questions, please let your principal know. So again, just high level of that. As much as we can, if you are able to work from home, should you have to quarantine, we are giving you those virtual accommodations so you don't have to take your PTO. That is gratitude and love for you. On the other hand, on the other side of that, we are not able to offer any stipends for fellow teachers who are covering or supporting in a way for other teachers. So, we are happy to let you know that our surveillance testing process is actively working to ensure safety across all three campuses. So, I definitely want to give some shine this week. We have definitely gotten those numbers up. So, this week, surveillance testing numbers at West, we tested 195 geniuses. We tested 100% of staff who were on site. At Gideon's, that number for our geniuses was 87, again with 100% of staff who were on site. And at O4W, we tested 232 of our geniuses and 100% of staff who were on site. So shine to you, shine for those grassroots efforts, not only from you, but I saw parents reaching out to each other. And we really do appreciate that effort. We know that it's working the way that it's supposed to work and helping to keep our communities safe. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our staff has done an incredible job of showing up each week to receive the test, and those negative reports that we've been getting provide us with a huge sigh of relief. This week, we did have 4 cases that were reported through surveillance testing at O4W. We were quickly able to identify those students and able to act accordingly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have not been without hiccups, but these findings do support the fact that we are doing what's working. All right, so I also noticed I gave y'all a little data there, but I know some parents and staff have wondered about our COVID related data. And while most of this is publicly available via the APS site, we are proud to share that we'll be launching our own very easy to read dashboard before fall break. It's going to include some valuable information related to the number of classroom closures and positive cases and our vaccination stats by school and our testing stats as well. So with that, I also just want to share with you from this week. So I know some of you were interested. So at Gideon's, we currently have this week 2 classes that are quarantined. At O4W, we have 13 classes that are quarantined this week. And we had 4 positive cases reported. At Gideon's, we had 2 positive cases reported. And at West, who just came back from a 2-week quarantine as of September 1st, we had no positive cases reported. Additionally, I wanted to share some information about vaccinations. So, staff vaccinations, our vaccination rate, and this was as of August 2nd. And this is the data that's been reported to the state of Georgia. So if you were vaccinated in the state of Georgia, you are included in this number. So at O4W right now, we have 60% of our staff vaccinated. At Gideon's, we have 40% of our staff vaccinated. And at West, we have 41. So, y'all know I always go into a space where I say the thing, but even before I get there now, we work in an organization where it's up to us to help protect our children. And so, adult vaccination is highly important. And so, speaking of those vaccinations, I am pleased to inform you of an upcoming opportunity for our staff. Please be on the lookout for communication regarding a vaccination stipend. So, this stipend will be $150 for every staff member who provides evidence of full vaccination. So, that's receiving both of those shots. And all of the details of how to acquire those funds will be sent to you in that communication. So, that's one, hopefully, to encourage or give a little nudge to some of our friends who haven't yet gotten the vaccination, and then also just for a thank you for those who have. All right. So finally, I told you about the Kindezi dashboard. So again, you'll be able to see our COVID data, our classroom closures, vaccination status, and the stats around testing. Proud to talk about those this week. That vaccination stipend is coming. Remember, you're going to upload evidence of your full vaccination. Be on the lookout for some communication coming from health services. That's going to be fully confidential. All we need to do is send that information so that we can have it on file, reporting that to health services and HR so that $150 can be processed. In addition to that, also just wanted to remind you that by the September 30th check, you will be getting your $500 retention stipend from us. Thank you so much. We see you. Thank you for being with us. And then finally, I just want to say the thing. So, working for a school organization during a global pandemic is no small task. Principal Penn has nicknamed this the year of the pivot because it seems like that's what we're doing over and over again. Every chance we get, we have to pivot. So while we have done our best to provide our geniuses with a sense of normalcy, we cannot pretend that this has been business as usual. And to do so would totally undermine the experience that all of you have from day to day as we try to live our mission out loud with COVID realities just constantly operating in the background of our day to day activities. I want you to know that everything that you do, everything that you are doing does not go unseen. Despite of everything that's happening, you show up every day and you give our kids all you got. Miss Bell says 10 toes down for the kids we serve. So yes, you are. I know that you show up because you care about our geniuses, and I can never say thank you enough. I see it, I feel it, I experience it. I won't pretend to have all the answers. I won't pretend that I won't make mistakes, that my team won't make mistakes. But as we plan, make backup plans, modify plans, recreate plans, like Principal says, pivot. I want you to know the reality of this pandemic calls for us to be responsive as new needs present themselves. While this may feel haphazard at times, know that it is not. None of us have done this before, and no differently from how you have to change lesson plans to be responsive to the needs of your geniuses. We have to change to be responsive when things aren't working or when we're just thrown for a loop. So, our leaders have an obligation to modify when we see a gap. And I promise you that your wellness and the wellness of the geniuses we serve will continue to be at the forefront of our decisions. And I also just want to say thank you for your commitment to this work. And I just want to send just special shine and love to our leaders. When you see your leaders, please just give them some virtual hugs, give them some shine. They are working relentlessly on your behalf and on behalf of our children. And they are making sure that we are doing more than surviving. We are thriving even in this time. It is my absolute gift to serve as your executive director. Show some love to one another today. Be patient, be kind, and enjoy your long weekend. Thank you for all you do.